Hey there, good morning. Yes, I'm here. It's me, Dawg Knight, and we're gonna get going. I'm gonna be talking in this little radio voice today because, unfortunately, not fortunately, my son has a job, so I can't complain. He's working today, and so he's gonna be doing some work in the other room, and he's got a teleconference. So I'm gonna try not to distract him. He's gonna try not to distract me, and we're gonna keep going like that. So, welcome. Hey. Oh yeah, I got to play the intro. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. And stop the music. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, Marty, aka Dawg Knight, on the Dawg Knight channel. We're here every day, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT. Good morning, T. Thomas. It looks like it's you and me. So here, I'm going to give you the bell right now. Hey, Tyler F. How you doing? Welcome to pop in. This is weird. Did this not go out to anybody? Well, obviously it went out to a couple people, but anyway, we're going to talk about, today we're going to talk about a hurricane, because everyone's talking about the hurricane, but in particular, oh no, where the hell? Okay, hold on, guys. We got to do a little standby here, because I forgot something extremely important. Just a second. You know, sometimes you forget things and you feel kind of naked without them, right? Well, I forgot my coffee. I gotta have the reparations coffee in the cup. I am so confused, though. I'm so confused. There's only one person here. Did this thing? What happened? All right. Anyway, let's get into it because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. First of all, the biggest news right now on the planet, at least in the planet in this hemisphere, is Hurricane Dorian. And so, good morning, Jaeger Pony. How you doing? Hurricane Dorian is the biggest issue right now. Let's see here. Put that article up. Hurricane Dorian could hit Florida as a Category 5 storm. Now, I noticed that they keep upgrading this and saying, well, it could be a Category 3, and yesterday, it could be a Category 4. Now it could be a Category 5, and maybe that's due to our great levels of climate change over the last few days. I don't know why, but Florida residents picked stores clean and lined up at gas stations Thursday as Hurricane Dorian barreled toward the state's east coast, with meteorologists fearing it could become a Category 5 storm by the time it makes landfall Sunday. The storm, currently a Category 1 with 85-mile-an-hour winds and heavy rains, is expected to grow into a monster over the next 2 days and at least reach a Category 4, which means gales of more than 130 miles an hour. And it would become a Category 5 if wind speeds surpass 157 miles an hour. Well, I could shoot a dog and it would bark, but let's have an actual forecast that lets us know what's going to happen. With Dorian forecast to pass over extremely warm water in the Gulf Stream, where it cooled, upwelled water is rapidly replaced by more warm water. You have to be concerned that a Category 5 is on the table before reaching the U.S. coast. AccuWeather senior meteorologist Alex Sosanowski warned on Thursday. Although Dorian is expected to hit Florida, forecasters caution it may remain somewhat unpredictable. Oh my gosh. Anyway, they haven't been able to pinpoint exactly where it will hit land, which could be anywhere within a 500-mile stretch between the Florida Keys and Georgia's southern coast. Florida Ron DeSantis called the storm a cone of uncertainty that stretches the entire state. Pinkala, that's interesting. Let's see. Yeah, we're having a interesting scandal up here regarding this hurricane. Look up Kim Campbell. She was the only female prime minister and was only prime minister for 9 months. Yeah, we're going to get into that because it's very fascinating how people are talking about this particular hurricane, and that is due to the resident in the White House, the president, I should say, because, hey, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is still your president. Good morning, Straight Sith Mail. Good morning, Mr. Nonopoly of Gulf City, and Pincalo, the driving 8-man, who gave me that last comment about Kim Campbell. So anyway, yeah, they're telling people to be prepared. People are starting to leave the state. But I want to go into the Twitter trends, because this whole thing is just amazing to me. And partly because of what some people are saying. And that little Kim Campbell thing is going to come up here too, Pincalo. Thanks for reminding me of that. So this is the trend. It's number one trending on Twitter right now. Floridians before Hurricane Dorian this Memorial Day weekend. 1 case of beer and some seltzer should do. Floridians after Dorian became a Cat 3. Grab every case of beer and claws you can find. As in crab claws and maybe crawfish. But apparently there's some people who, remember I was talking the other day, a lot of people on left of center, people who are left of center politically, socially, whatever, they'd love to talk about how people on the right are so full of hate. Everything's hate, right? Well, I think that some of these people are very self-unaware, okay? Because what I've been hearing a lot is, people, they want the hurricane to hit Florida so it can hit Mar-a-Lago, so it can destroy Mar-a-Lago, because who owns, what's that, Mar-a-Lago Resort? You heard of that? That resort that, who owns that now? Here, I just realized this is down. Here, let me fix this. This should be better. There we go. All right, those levers are better. Because a certain president happens to be the owner of Mar-a-Lago. And so you're getting some people on the old Twitter machines here. Here, let's see. This is Daily Outsider. Florida braces for what may be the biggest storm on the East Coast since 1992. It's hilarious that all these people are, it may be the biggest storm. Because they don't know. I mean, there's right now, I've heard everything from Cat 3 to Cat 5, which is what they say 180 miles, or 85 miles of wind, Cat 3. 130 would be a Cat 4. Excess of that is a Cat 5, right? But even like I said in this article, this is the New York Post. I mean, they're hedging on the whole thing. It's currently Category 1 with 85-mile-an-hour winds and heavy rains, expected to grow into a monster over the next 2 days, and at least reach Category 4, which means 130. It would become a Category 5 if the wind speed surpassed 157. They're not saying it's going to do that. They don't know. They have no idea. But you know what? They're trying to forecast it. And usually you can predict it based on water temperatures, Gulf stream speed, etc. So... But so there's so many people who want to. Let's see, Kim Campbell. Let's just go. I'm going to do a little search on Kim Campbell and hurricane. So Kim. All right, here's Kim Campbell. Kim Campbell, the USA Today. Former Canadian Prime Minister. Let me get a full screen here. Former Canadian Prime Minister Kim Campbell rooting for Hurricane Dorian to hit Trump's Mar-a-Lago. Feel the hate. Who are the hateful ones? Former Canadian Prime Minister said she's rooting for Hurricane Dorian to directly hit President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club on Florida's coast. Kim Campbell, Canada's first and only female prime minister, wrote on Twitter Wednesday, "I'm rooting for a direct hit on Mar-a-Lago." Campbell on Thursday continued to tweet about the storm and how it appears to be heading towards Mar-a-Lago. "Well, we'll see if Mr. Post's design can stand up to the assault," she wrote in a tweet referencing the serial heiress Marjorie Merriweather Post, who built Mar-a-Lago. "I know Palm Beach well, and I'm sorry if it gets a big hit. I wish I could believe that it would shake up Trump's climate change denial. Only today his administration has removed regulations to limit methane, a worse CHG than CO2, she continued in the tweet. Here's the problem with that kind of thinking. And let me just remind Kim Campbell and anyone else who thinks like this, you do realize that resort, it employs a lot of people. A lot of people live in that area. So to root for something to destroy one place, one little pinpoint on the map, you're asking for devastation of all the people around there. And, it's just, that's such a hateful thing. So many people rooting, and I'll go through some of the tweets here. It's serious when SpongeBob is evacuating. The move to Ann Arbor, Portland, Olympia is starting to look really good right now. Okay. Here's the other thing. This is a good tip on Twitter. My biggest tip for Hurricane Dorian 2019. Only get your information about the storm from reputable news sources. There's way too much misinformation on social media right now, and don't repost items on social media that haven't been verified. That's always a good idea too. But it's the people who are rooting for Dorian to hit Mar-a-Lago that really, really bother me. And I guess it looks like they've changed some of these because some of the people were laughing at the people who are rooting for that. Like Hurricane Donald, just stay put, do not budge. Yeah, whatever. Here's one. Oh, well, let's see. Oh my God. Representative Bonnie Watson-Coleman. Now she's using this. This is funny. She's using this for her agenda instead of worrying about actual human beings on the ground. The desire of Trump and his administration to lock up desert people fleeing violence is so strong, he will put people in the path of a hurricane at risk. That's a level of more corruption that defies understanding. What? Oh, she's referring to this. TSA, taking money away from TSA and from FEMA in the middle of a hurricane season could have deadly consequences. Yeah, they're not taking money away from the TSA and FEMA, though. They aren't. Here's the thing. Excess money that's spent does not go back into the agency. They reappropriate money for the agency every year. You don't take away the appropriated money already, but the excess money, yeah, you might have taken it out of the defense budget or used it for certain things. I'm sorry, but two different things. Apparently there was a whole bunch of them right at the top talking about hoping that it hit Donald Trump's property. I think some of those are getting removed from the trending. Seeing gas stations with no gas more and more in Palm Beach County. Let it begin. These people are ready. Poor Florida, always getting picked on by both people and Mother Nature. It's still the place I call home. I miss you, Orlando. Okay, that's nice. Let me find out if y'all are YouTubing siphoning videos for Hurricane Dorian. We managed to find some gas, even though the stations have been out for the past few days. Holy shit, talk about blessed. All right, so at least people are taking it seriously. Now, I don't know why leaders begging Floridians to heed hurricanes warning is my new favorite trend. Yeah, Andrew Gilliam on CNN. Please take Hurricane Dorian seriously, Florida. Heed warnings from Florida's alert system. Ron DeSantis. That's good. Andrew Gillum, who ran against Ron DeSantis, puts a very good message out here. Make your plan and then check in on your friends, family, and neighbors. We're all in this together. So, I will give Andrew Gillum credit because he's DeSantis' former opponent in the Florida governor's race. And for some reason, they decided to put him on CNN. So, but at least he has a good message. I guess the bad ones are all gone. Oh, here we go. President Compassion. Nobody has ever had that much compassion. Nobody have a good... Oh, my God. Let's get into the other story about this, though. The president did cancel his trip to Poland in response to Hurricane Dorian. President Donald Trump announced Thursday he would cancel his trip to Poland, and as Hurricane Dorian approaches Florida, it looks like it could be a very, very big one indeed, Trump said. The president was scheduled to attend ceremonies in Poland Sunday, marking the 80th anniversary of the start of World War II. Trump announced the cancellation of his plans ahead of the speech in the Rose Garden, hailing the return of Space Command. He said he would remain in the United States to ensure that the country was prepared for the arriving storm. Our highest priority is the safety and security of the people in the path of the hurricane, he said. Trump said he would send Vice President Mike Pence to Poland in his stead. It is very important for me to be here, Trump said. Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency in Florida as forecast for Hurricane Dorian predicted it could swell into a Category 4 storm. So Trump did cancel his trip to Poland for that. Check my Twitter DMs. Let's check my DMs. Let's do that. Thank you, Pincalo. Let's see. Messages. Oh, by the way, thank you first, Tyler F. and Necrosol for retweeting the show this morning. I appreciate it. Looks like people are really starting to roll in. That's good news. Let's go check the DMs, see what Pincalo sent me here. I'm having little internet issues here. Oh, isn't this? Let's see. All right, so let's see. Stephen Harper is out there writing books and analyzing, explaining complex political ideas and geopolitical trends in ways that are consumable for lay people. Kim Campbell shitposting morbid fantasies about Trump's death from Del Boca Vista on her iPhone 4. Yeah, here it is, Kim Campbell. I'm rooting for a direct hit on Mar-a-Lago. Wow. Yeah, that's just pure hate. I'm looking for the people, though. Oh, I'm looking for the... Okay, I just read this one. Clearly, this is a response to Kim Campbell. Clearly, no man has made a direct hit on you in about 45 years. Oh, man. What the heck is wrong? Oh, here. Oh, she answered somebody. What the heck is wrong with you? There are people who live and work there. And she comes back, as there are in Puerto Rico. Sorry, you don't get snark, but Trump's indifference to suffering is intolerable. Would also help if he tackled climate change, which is making hurricanes more destructive. Instead, he will remove limits on methane. Get a grip. Well, first of all, ever since the global climate change scare, and I, ever since scientists started predicting the predictions on global climate change, one of their predictions has not really come true. Well, several of their predictions haven't come true yet. Not saying that they won't, but they haven't as of yet. And one of those predictions is the frequent hurricanes over the last 15 years. There have been a few very devastating ones. but the frequency has not been more. And hurricanes have always been an issue in the Caribbean and in Florida, and that's part in the Gulf. It's been for a very long time. So for her to saying that, would it also help if you tackle climate change? Well, and making it more destructive. Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, she's very rightly getting dragged on pretty much on everyone on here. Please delete this tweet. Jesus woman, you've gone full tequila Sheila. The future of the Supreme Court of Canada, right there, folks. I'm rooting for a carjacking when you're out on your way to dinner. Maybe a good pistol whipping will knock some sense into you. Oh, good Lord. Did the staff and residents in the area wrong you in some way? Publicly wishing for people to be put in harm's way is twisted. How many deaths and properties destroyed are you hoping for? So yeah, she's rightly getting dragged for her statements. But for the most part, as I'm looking through these, by the way, it is hurricane season right now. This is the most likely time for hurricanes to happen in that part of the world. So this one's pretty cute. Now, see, if y'all would have got y'all act together when hurricane season started in June, y'all wouldn't be scrambling right now. Now, that's not very nice either. It's like right now at this time to just help people get out of the way and take the precautions they need to keep themselves safe. So at least I'm seeing that a vast majority of the messages today are hoping that people are safe and not like Kim Campbell wishing that it hits a certain area so that it can hurt one in the wallet versus thousands of people actually being hurt and having their lives destroyed. What an awful thing to say. And that is just pure hate. And there's so many examples of pure hate. And so my second example, I kind of didn't really do a whole lot with this one before, but when David Koch died, there were so many people cheering. I mean, it was almost disgusting. Not even almost. It was disgusting. Now, I don't have any great affinity for David Koch. Let me see if I can find this. But Twitter was just complete and utter cancer that day too. So here's some examples. David Koch has been a cancer to humanity, funneling millions of dollars into fake news and far-right candidates. Really? Oh, this is funny. So they put on this little thing from Telesur. What is this? Oligarch. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. I did forget, obviously, because it's not happening right now. But I completely forgot the funk today. So there you go. Here it goes. All right, back to this Twitter thing. And hate. Let's just talk about hate, because who has more hate, the right or the left? And the best way to bring out hate in the left, talk about somebody on the right they don't like, Donald Trump in the Hurricane Dorian case, or David Koch. So even the fact that he funded research, not just for cancer, because people say, oh, the only reason he's funded cancer is because he had cancer. Well, he funded a lot of philanthropic things, okay, not just cancer research, but even this. So this guy, considering that he had prostate cancer for 30 years, donating to cancer research is not an act of generosity, but rather one of self-preservation. Yeah, he beat cancer. He beat that cancer. So don't you think maybe he's thinking, you know what, I beat it, I want to help other people beat it? Okay, could that be the case? Could that be the case? By the way, good morning, Cynical Lindsay, RVA Dar, Necrosol, Necro Collins. Hello, Prospero. Nice to have you here. I haven't seen you around in a while. And Maniac Man. Good to have you all around. Okay. But so, yeah, a lot of people. So here's one. So David Koch dies and liberals cheer and say good riddance. Dorian's Florida might hit Trump's Mar-a-Lago, and liberals say serves him right. If something happens to RBG, evil. Republicans would say, she didn't really follow the Constitution, but still rest in peace. That's probably how it's going to be. It's funny. Yeah, don't just you want to see pure hate go into a place where there's a lot of people on the left and mention Donald Trump or mention the Koch brothers, or, I mean, it's just like if you went to a room full of right wingers and started talking about George Soros. Okay. Most people would say, okay, they don't like him. He funds so many Democrats things, but would it be just the pure hatred? No, Mr. Monopoly. RBG has not died, but she has just went through another round of treatment for pancreatic cancer. So, and that one cancer that really is, if you have it, you're pretty likely to die in a short period of time. Yeah, she just went through her second round of treatment for her pancreatic cancer. And, so anyway. All right, let's get into a couple other stories today. So that's Donald Trump announced the scam. Oh, wait a minute. Let's get back to this. This was the greatest story on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, in the last couple days, and I didn't even see it until today, because this is so important. Everyone's favorite, everybody's favorite congressperson, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, says that badass millennials are the true greatest generation. Oh my God. Tom Brokaw can laud the sacrifices of Americans who grew up during the Great Depression and then went on to fight World War II, but for firebrand freshman Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the greatest generation are millennials. The 29-year-old Queen Bronx Democrat stroked the egos of a few of her fellow millennials and the subsequent Gen Z in her latest Instagram live video, claiming that young people are more informed and willing to go to the streets in protest than earlier generations. Really? I think the people who are protesting in the streets now are kind of more, they're more LARPing on the great protests in the 60s, and I'm not that generation either. That generation was protesting all the time. They were in streets, they were on college campuses, they were in the cities, they were Necrosol, FTG. Yeah, man, FTG. Oh, and informed. Yeah, that's hilarious too, Prospero. They're more informed about, what's on Instagram, sure, but they're informed as far as actual history and politics and how things work. No, they're just like every other generation of 20-somethings. I'm sorry. You don't really know anything until you've lived You've actually lived through some things, and right now they've lived through nothing. But they think they know everything. They certainly know everything that they learn now is everything. Puncture. They rule, and dubbed by the former NBC Nightly News anchor Brokaw in his 1998 book, The Greatest Generation. She says, I think this new generation is very profound and very strong and very brave. Oh, they're all brave behind the keyboard, that's for sure, especially AOC. Because they're actually willing to go to the street, she said. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? Apparently she hasn't really done any research on, again, I'm going to say the generation that was of age just as I was when I was very young, the 60s generation. Man, they were in the streets for everything, every day. Protests on campuses, the civil rights movement, millions of people participated in that. Anti-war movements, millions of people participated in that. And that was really the impetus of the people in the street. Now, there were also times in the 30s, 20s and 30s that there were, you'd have a protest, but because of the whole change was really that 60s generation, because there was a long time between the end of World War II and kind of into the 50s. I mean, you started to see the civil rights protests late in the 50s, particularly with the desegregation of schools in Arkansas and whatnot. But the actual people getting out in the streets and actually protesting, man, that was the 60s and into the early 70s. And then you really didn't see that as much, in the late 70s, in the 80s. You really did. The 80s and 90s, it was almost, we had 20 years of content. I mean, yes, there were people who would, protest things, and there was certain protests that, very large organized protests, but not the organic protests that you saw in the 60s. So I don't know what she's talking about. Yes, people can organize a protest in a heartbeat now with the internet, and but I'm sorry, to call this generation the greatest generation, they haven't lived long enough to be a greatest generation. They haven't really accomplished any great significant change in the world. The civil rights, the other time was in the beginning of the 20th century. You saw huge activism with unfortunately the temperance movement was one of them, but also with the activism for the right to women to vote. For women to vote, before the 19th Amendment, there was the suffrage movement was huge. Okay, and they actually accomplished something, and the civil rights generation protests actually accomplished something. Until this generation actually accomplish something and just doesn't protest to protest, or doesn't just protest to try to stifle other people's rights, because it's kind of like they like to kind of do that too, the Antifa movement. Yeah, they go in the streets to beat people up or scream, shout other people down. I don't know if that's great. It's a complete, before everyone was protesting for rights, and now you have people who protest against people's rights. So that's a whole different thing. Same with the anti-gun movement. They're protesting to take away people's rights instead of to enhance people's rights. So if you missed FTG Thursday, feel free to give AOC an FTG. Good morning, Zombie. How you doing, Zombie Teddy? All right, let's move on. So this one now, apparently, now I know I haven't talked about Comey yet. We'll get to Comey, but apparently, one of the leakers in the West Wing has been ousted. Alleged West Wing leaker Madeleine Resterhout has been removed from Trump's circle. An alleged leaker from inside the West Wing, whose desk sat right outside President Donald Trump's Oval Office, was reportedly ousted from her position on Thursday and told never to return to the White House. Madeleine Westerhout, who had served as the president's personal assistant since the first day of his administration, was, according to the New York Times, terminated from her position on Thursday after it was revealed she allegedly leaked details about Oval Office operations and the first family to the media in an off-record dinner in Bedminster, New Jersey earlier this month. New York Times' Annie Carney and Maggie Haberman wrote Thursday evening, President Trump's personal assistant, Maggie Westerhout, whose office sits in front of the Oval Office and who served as the president's gatekeeper since day one of his administration, resigned on Thursday, two people familiar with her exit said. Ms. Westerhout's abrupt and unexpected departure came after Mr. Trump learned on Thursday that she had indiscreetly shared details about his family and the Oval Office operations she was a part of during a recent off-the-record dinner with reporters staying at hotels near Bedminster, New Jersey during the president's working vacation, according to one of the people speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss White House personnel issues. So yeah, it was a breach of trust. They immediately let her go. I don't know if she's necessarily one of the people who's been leaking other things from the White House. I have a feeling, though. Now, here's a theory about something that happened yesterday, too. So remember yesterday we were talking about how Lawrence O'Donnell had to apologize for the story that he came out with a couple days ago saying that he had a source at Deutsche Bank who said that Trump's loans with Deutsche Bank had been co-signed by Russian oligarchs. And then yesterday he had to walk that back because clearly he had one single source who had not seen any documents. It was just something that the one single source heard anonymously. And then so Lawrence O'Donnell was forced to walk that back. I was thinking about that later in the day. Hey, Ranting Monkey, how you doing? I was beginning to think later in the day, the Trump administration has been talking about possibly trying to weed out leakers in the White House. And it got me to thinking, because that story was so bad for Lawrence O'Donnell. And obviously Trump and the whole entire lineup at MSNBC and CNN has been in a bit of a feud, right? So it makes me wonder, is it possible that whoever leaked that story to Lawrence O'Donnell, could that have been bait? Could it have been leaker bait? And could it have been just one of those things where, okay, we're gonna feed this story to Lawrence O'Donnell, or we'll feed this story to someone in the White House, right? We'll feed this story to someone, and if this particular story gets out, then we'll know who the leaker is. That's how you catch a leaker, right? You feed a story to one person that's not, has a specific detail in the story that only that person would know because it's not true. And then it goes out, and so now you find the leaker. It makes me wonder, how did they find this gal? What's her name again? Madeleine Westerhout. How did they figure out that she leaked something specifically about the Trump family to the press? Okay, she had indiscreetly shared details about his family and the Oval Office operations she was a part of during a recent off-the-record dinner with reporters. Could it be that they just had a little sting going there? I don't know. That would be very fascinating. All right, moving on. Let's see. Now, I don't know why I have so many Breitbart stories. I don't usually even look at Breitbart because I think they sensationalize a little more than other places. I'm not so fond of that. But IG report, James Comey passed private conversation with Trump to FBI team investigation Russian collusion. We talked about this yesterday, and a lot of people on the internet are talking about it. Now, a couple of details that people have brought up about this, if you paid attention to the story. There's a lot of people on the internet, on Twitter and whatnot, saying, oh, no. See, wait, first of all, I wonder if they have Comey's tweets in here. So Comey goes on Twitter yesterday and says, "Oh, see, people have been saying that I've been leaking and I'm a liar and a leaker, and you know what? I don't have to take any action. You can just apologize." Well, first of all, this IG report actually confirmed that Comey lied and leaked. Okay, the only thing it was the memo that got leaked to the New York Times was never classified. But of the other, like there were 4 or 5 other memos, 2 of them were classified retroactively. So I was talking to people on Twitter, just having these conversations, and they kept saying, "Well, you know what? This proves he didn't leak classified information." And I was thinking, well, wait a minute. It clearly said in the report that Comey gave these memos to his personal lawyers, and his personal lawyers were the 2 pieces that were reclassified retroactively are, even though it's at the lowest level of confidential, are still classified information, and he leaked them to people who were unauthorized to have that information, his personal lawyers. And they were saying, well, no, but it says right here, he didn't leak classified information to the media. Right, but in the report, it specifically said that it went to these people that were unauthorized to have it. Well, it was retroactive, so it doesn't matter. He didn't leak classified information when he leaked it. Here's the problem with that, okay? There's a procedure for whether or not of classifying any kind of information that comes from the FBI. And as James Comey was the director of the FBI at the time. Here, I'm going to take this off. As James Comey was the FBI director at the time, anything that he writes in a memo in reference to any conversation he has is actually, and this is what's in dispute. He thought, he's writing memos himself. The Inspector General says, no, anything you write as a memo regarding to interactions you have as the FBI director are information that is owned by the FBI. It is FBI material. Well, there's a process for determining whether or not FBI material that is generated is classified. And so he did not go through that process prior to giving the information to somebody else. So it never had a chance to be categorized as classified information before he leaked it out. So whether or not they changed the classification retroactively or not, you are still giving information that is classified to somebody who's not supposed to have it. Okay, so whether or not if you let's say you have 6 documents, they haven't been classified because it hasn't gone through that process, and you disseminate those 6 documents. If the FBI later says, "Oh, no, that documents 2, 4, and 5, as we review them, those are classified information," because you gave it out before it was classified, does that make it any better? No, you still gave out classified information. You just didn't give the rest of the agency the opportunity to classify that information before you disseminated it. So you did something illegal. And in the statute, it says particularly that, let's put it this way. Jeffrey Sterling, I don't know if you're familiar with that case, but he actually went to jail because some information that he disseminated was retroactively classified, stating. So he took the information, got it out there because he was a whistleblower. Well, they said, no, that information should be classified, and you gave it out. So you did give out classified information. You just didn't give us a chance to classify it yet. Same thing with James Comey. He gave information to his attorneys that, even though it's the lowest level of classified info, it is classified information, whether it was done retroactively or not. So he did actually break the law, but they aren't going to get him on this. They're not going to prosecute him on this, probably because in the next month or so, there's a whole way bigger thing that they're going to be looking at. There's a whole, and that is the whole FISA warrant issue, and that's the one that they're still working on. They're probably gonna in fact, there's some stories on that. I think I'll get to that. In fact, let's just skip this one because we all know about Comey. Let's skip that. Okay, so here's one. Matthew Whitaker at a Department of Justice meeting suggests Andrew McCabe will be indicted imminently. Former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker said Wednesday he believes Andrew McCabe will soon be indicted on federal charges based on reporting that the former FBI deputy director attorneys. Holy crap. Oh, monkey, if you're still here, I almost said I'm going monkey speak. All right, let me start this over. Former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker said Wednesday he believes Andrew McCabe will soon be indicted on federal charges based on reporting that the former FBI deputy director's attorneys recently met with Justice Department officials. We talked about that the other day. Sometimes I'm like 2 or 3 days ahead. I said this 2 days ago because McCabe's attorneys were meeting with the Justice Department, and I said usually that really only happens if they are really working to avoid their client to be prosecuted. They'll bring them in and they have to come in and make their case of why you shouldn't prosecute them. That's kind of the final nail that before the coffin gets opened or closed. Anyway, Whitaker said in a Fox News interview that McCabe's lawyer's meeting with Deputy Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen, which the New York Times reported Monday took place last week, appears to have been what's known as a DAG appeal, Deputy Attorney General appeal. Whitaker said sophisticated defense lawyers asked for the meetings to lay out your case as to why your client shouldn't be charged. Yeah, I said that a few days ago. I've not seen a DAG appeal be successful. I've seen them many times, again, with sophisticated defense lawyers, but this is usually when somebody is imminently going to be charged. They try to get the Deputy Attorney General to plead their case, said Whitaker, who was a U.S. attorney and chief of staff to Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Whitaker oversaw the Justice Department while the agency was investigating whether McCabe lied to the FBI. He did, at least. Hey, GT. Hot takes only. Yeah, welcome the boy to the stream. He's over there laughing at me. Okay, yeah, that's my son. Okay, the Justice Department Inspector General referred McCabe for potential prosecution after finding he lacked candor, another word for lying, during interviews with the watchdog and the FBI's personnel office regarding his authorization of leaks to the media in October 2016 regarding the Bureau's investigation of the Clinton Foundation. Now, here's something also somewhat fascinating about this. If McCabe is charged, I didn't have that on the screen, did I? If McCabe is charged, you know who one of the witnesses against McCabe's going to be? James Comey. Oh, this is going to be fun. It's going to be fantastic. I don't know. Who knows? As I said yesterday, I have no confidence whatsoever that anyone's going to be charged, that anyone's going to be prosecuted, anything, because you just never know how this is going to work. But anyway, all right, moving on. Let's see. Let's get back into these here. This story from Nick Nolte, another Breitbart story. MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell. The reason I usually don't like Breitbart, but I do like Nolte. He's a good writer. He's kind of the entertainment news industry writer, and he actually does a really good job. And he's partisan, yes, but not insane. Nolte, MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell's proves the elite media have zero standards. You get to a point where the behavior of the established media stops shocking you. After decades of lies and fake news calling hurricanes racist, you simply assume this is who they are and this is what they do. Like most of the country, I've tuned them out. But still, how does MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell and his producers still have a job? That's a fantastic question, isn't it? Anyone else wonder that? I was. How does he still have a job after that one? Don't get me wrong, I'm not calling for anyone to be fired or punished. I don't do that. But how does O'Donnell still have a job? How does the prime anchor on a cable news channel, news, how, are we still going? Okay, it's still working. Okay. How does the primetime anchor on a cable news channel report a bombshell story about the President of the United States that he's not even sure is true and keep his job? Even when he told the story, his weasel words were, "This story, if true, could have significant implications." What do you mean, this story, if true? If true means you don't know the stories. Oh, I want to go back to his apology, too. His apology was crap. Don't let me forget to go back to his apology. It was crap. And I didn't even pay attention that closely, but his apology was crap. We're going to get to that. Because I listened to it a second time, and I'm like, oh, you dirty dog. This was not an apology. It was BS. Anyway, how do producers who allow this to happen keep their jobs after clearing a report that was on its face outrageously unbelievable? A story about Russia oligarchs close to Vladimir Putin co-signing loans for Donald Trump. It's one thing to get a story wrong. We all oops, but this wasn't a oops. This was a primetime anchor on cable news outlet choosing to report something, to drop a scoop about something he wasn't sure about. Now, I'm not doing what the media do to Trump. I'm not reading O'Donnell's mind and discovering the worst possible motive. We know for a fact that O'Donnell and MSNBC were not sure about the story because they told us they weren't. After the president's attorneys threatened to file suit, O'Donnell and MSNBC pretended to retract the story. Yeah, they did. That's the other thing about his apology. They did retract the story. And while doing so, came right out and said, "We don't know whether the information is inaccurate." That's the phrase in O'Donnell's apology that I had to think about a couple of times. And I finally decided that that was the bullshit apology. Listen to that sentence again. We don't know whether the information is inaccurate. Inaccurate. Okay, I think he says this too. Inaccurate. Wait a minute. You should be worried about whether it's accurate, right? Not inaccurate, whether it's accurate, because you shouldn't put out information that is accurate. So he's saying, well, we think it's right, but it could be inaccurate, as opposed to, no, we never vetted the story. They couldn't vet the story because the person that supposedly gave O'Donnell the information hadn't seen any documents. He just heard it was a rumor or made up a rumor. Who knows? I don't even know if it was real. O'Donnell actually said that. MSNBC actually admitted that. We don't know whether the information is inaccurate. Think about that. The current news standard at NBC News is having a primetime anchor report something damaging about someone when we don't know whether the information is inaccurate. If that's a standard, then there are no standards. None. That's not a standard. That's the absence of a standard. But the problem here is not just O'Donnell, MSNBC, and NBC News. The problem is the entire establishment media. And to illustrate this, let me take you back 15 years to 2004 to this extraordinary event known as Rathergate. Everyone remember that? Remember that? In 2004, Dan Rather, who was then an esteemed anchor for CBS Evening News, whose credentials reached all the way back to 1950, who reported on the Kennedy assassination and Watergate, told the world that he had documents proving that then President George W. Bush had been AWOL during much of his time in the Texas Air National Guard. It was fake news. The documents were totally and hilariously obvious forgeries. And while there's no question that the left-wing Rather and his rabidly left-wing producer, Mary Mapes, were too invested in wanting to destroy Bush's re-election chances to handle a story like this, they did at least attempt to verify the story and attempt to nail down second and third sources. Blinded by partisanship, they fooled themselves into believing they had the story nailed. But they did believe it. In other words, Rather and Mapes had a hell of a lot more reason to run with their story than NBC did with the oligarch BS. All of the lame excuses we heard from Rather and Mapes, one we never heard was, we didn't know whether the information was inaccurate. Okay, I think you get the point here. Let's find O'Donnell's apology. Let's see. Let's go. Lawrence O'Donnell. Let's see if we can find the old apology here. Let's go straight to him. I think he might have actually... Let's see. Yeah, I thought he put it on here. Where's his apology? Well, screw... Okay, well, it's not here. Lawrence O'Donnell apology. Let's do it this way through DuckDuckGo. Use DuckDuckGo. Lawrence O'Donnell apology. Here we go. All right, this should be here. Please give me a... Oh, come on. Somebody give me a video here. Hello, Check Your Logic. How you doing? Yes, Monkey was here. He may still be here. I don't know. He may have gone to bed by now. I don't know. All right, let's do it here. Lawrence O'Donnell apologizes, retracts story. Let's see if they've got the... Oh, come on. Let's do it through YouTube. What a pain in the butt here. All right. Lawrence O'Donnell apology. All right. Oh, you know, Lawrence O'Donnell is really probably most notorious for the Stop the Hammering video. Let's see. We'll go through Stop the Hammering later. Apologize to unverified. Okay. Oh, I don't want the Fox News version of this. I want the MSNBC news. They did. MSNBC does not put it up. That's amazing to me. Anyway, the big thing is that stupid. If it's inaccurate, that's just crap. That's a crap way to apologize. We'll get to it later. Anyway, let's see what else we got. Oh, speaking of MSNBC, I don't know if any of you happen to venture over there every once in a while, but apparently Donnie Deutsch lost his show. MSNBC host Donnie Deutsch has his 5th show canceled. The branding expert show lasted only 13 episodes. MSNBC host and frequent Morning Joe. Oh wait, it's 10:18. You know what? That's because my phone didn't go off. Anyway, we'll finish this and we'll do some Twitter trends, and then I got to get out of here. MSNBC host and frequent Morning Joe guest Donnie Deutsch had his 5th show canceled early this month after only 13 episodes. Deutsch's show, Saturday Night Politics, launched in early May during the network's 8 p.m. hour and was advertised as part of NBC's expansion of weekend programming. The network will now be filling the spot with reruns of Chris Hayes' Friday show, according to TV Newsers. Oh man, when you suck so low that you lose your show to reruns of Chris Hayes. Oh my God. Saturday Night Politics would end up being the most. Oh, it would be Saturday Night Politics. This is sad if that's the case. Saturday Night Politics would end up being the most watched Saturday 8 p.m. show in network history. While it regularly beats CNN in total viewers, it couldn't match CNN Newsroom and other CNN Saturday 8 p.m. programming in the key adult 25 to 54 demo, and it couldn't come anywhere close to matching the ratings of Fox News 8 p.m. show Water's World. The series premiere of Saturday Night Politics averaged 919,000 total viewers. That's respectable. I mean, well, whatever. While the second episode hit 898,000, the remaining broadcasts couldn't match those early numbers, so it continually dropped in numbers. Anyway, Donald Trump, of course, tweeted about it, but hey, let's move on. Okay, we don't have to. We don't have to. In this show, listen, we don't have to talk about every single one of Donald Trump's tweets because they're going to be on Twitter anyway, right? They're going to trend on Twitter. All right, let's finish the day with some Twitter trends, see what's happening here, and find out what's going on in the world before anyone else starts talking about it. Let's see. So, as we know, trending number 1 is Hurricane Dorian. We've already talked about that. Friday thoughts, Friday motivation 2 and 3. Let's find one good Friday thought as opposed to Friday thought. One good Friday thought to get your weekend started right, but let's see what's on top. Don't waste words on people who deserve your silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to say nothing at all. Hey, you know what? I don't think I have to go any farther to find the Friday thought of the day. That's a really good one. In other words, use words wisely. All right, moving on. Labor Day weekend, that's trending number 4. Happy Labor Day weekend. Enjoy whatever you do on those kinds of weekends. Hey, go fill up those propane tanks and do some grilling because it's your last chance. I'm going to use my time to close my pool that never really got open this year. Oh my goodness. But of course, the top thing on the Labor Day weekend trend is Donald Trump, as always. Heading into Labor Day weekend, here's a look at the price workers are paying for Donald Trump's broken promises. You know what? Let's just... unemployment's down. Employment is up. The labor participation rate is up. And wages are rising for the first time in about 10 years. Now, this is... whoever Cap Action is, Fight for Progress, holding your leaders accountable. I'm not even going to watch this. Now, yes, different industries have had a difficult time, but you know what? Whatever. This Labor Day weekend would be a great time for real Donald Trump to Mar-a-Lago go fuck himself. Yes, Donald Trump is always on everyone's mind. Oh, what? But you know what? Hey, remember this show is about hurricanes and hate. So there's some hate. Good for that guy. The fate of him. Okay, no, that's a trailer for a movie. All right, nothing great for Labor Day. Let's get into some meaty trending tweets here. Something big, something good. College Colors Day. Oh, what does that mean? Wear your college colors? Could be. I don't know. Because hey, college football starts this weekend. Okay, who are you rooting for? Florida Gators, today's day. Reply and show your college colors. Got some Auburn here with the Tiger there. Pitt's participating. Looks like all the schools are participating. University of Tennessee. A lot of orange. All the orange teams are out there. Florida, Auburn, Tennessee. Well, Pitt's kind of yellowish. North Carolina. All the big schools. The Huskers. You know what that N stands for on the Nebraska football helmets, right? That N stands for knowledge. That's an old joke we tell when you're from Nebraska. That's a funny thing. Okay, so all the colleges have got the college colors going up. It's College Color Day. because football is starting this weekend. Tool is trending because they dropped a new album for the first time in 13 years. Game Day. One of my favorite things on a Saturday morning is to watch College Game Day. And what's funny, a couple years ago they had College Game Day, or at least they had it wasn't the actual College Game Day. They didn't do it from there, but there's a huge Division III rivalry in football that's here in the Twin Cities. The University of St. Thomas and St. John's University, which is there are two Division III schools. One's here in St. Paul, one's near St. Cloud, Minnesota. They have this huge rivalry, and so a few years ago, they had a game in Collegeville, they call it, where St. John's is, and 17,000 people came to the game. And they had a feature on College Game Day because so many people would always go to this Division III football game, and nobody really pays attention to Division III that much, so it was a big dang deal. They had it on there. And then so the next year, they decided to have the game in the Minnesota Twins Stadium because it was the home. The St. Thomas was the home team that year. And that year, they got something like 37,000 people to go to a Division III college football game. It was really, really cool. And then this year, the Minnesota soccer team, the MLS team, which I don't even know what they're called. We have an MLS team now, and they built a new stadium in St. Paul. And so this year, the St. Thomas St. John's game will be in St. Paul. So the college colors I'm going to be talking about are the purple and white for the University of St. Thomas and the red and white for the University or St. John's University. So anyway, get your college colors out. All right, Game Day. Simone Biles is also trending. Fans are sending, Simone Biles' love after her brother's arrest. Ooh, you know what some people are going to be saying about this. Let's see. Brother of Olympic gymnast Simone Biles was arrested in Ohio triple murder. Oh my gosh, what? Oh man, Simone Biles' brother arrested. Here, let me full screen this one. Simone Biles' brother arrested in Ohio triple murder. Tevin Biles Thomas, 24, is charged with multiple counts of murder in a New Year's Eve shooting in Cleveland. Holy cripes. The brother's been charged with murder in the shooting. He was arrested Thursday at Fort Stewart, Georgia, in the December 31st shooting of an Airbnb property, according to a joint statement from Cleveland Division of Police and the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. The statement said an uninvited group entered the house and an altercation ensued with the invited guests that led to gunfire. Delevante Johnson, 19, and Toshan Banks, 21, were pronounced dead at the scene, and Devon Gibson was pronounced dead at the hospital. Biles Thomas, who is on active duty with the Army, has been charged with 6 counts of murder, 3 counts of voluntary manslaughter, 5 counts of felonious assault, and 1 count of perjury, according to prosecutors. The Cuyahoga County Prosecutor, Michael C. O'Malley, congratulated Cleveland police after the arrest in Georgia. Wow, that's traumatic. It has nothing really to do with her, but because it's her brother, you gotta feel for her. That's pretty sad. So, all right, let me finish up here. Moving on. Is everyone still here? I'm just curious. Pretty quiet in the chat right now. Looks like it's all working. Did I have to refresh this? I don't know. Let's reload that. Okay, y'all are still here. It's just, you're all quiet today. I don't know what's going on. Let's see, a couple more innovations. Thank you, Angel Tibbs and Tyler F. for tweeting out the stream. All right, let's finish up here with a few more Twitter trends. See what's finished. There's not a whole lot. People are going to be probably talking about that. I just wonder how long it's going to take for the. I wonder how long it's going to take for the Simone Biles deal to become racial for some reason. He's an Army guy and he was probably just defending himself. I don't know. We'll find out. I hope it does. And you know what? You hope maybe that it was self-defense. I don't even know how to classify that case because I don't know enough about it. But I'm sure we'll be hearing more about it in days to come. Neil Cavuto's trending because, he said something about Trump. One way to get trending, the best way to get trending is to talk about Trump in a negative way, and you will trend. Neil Cavuto torches Trump for whining about Fox News. Yeah, good. Actually, Neil Cavuto's 100% right this time. You're not entitled to our loyalty. I don't work for you. My job is to cover you, not to fawn over you or rip you. Just cover you. Very good, Neil Cavuto. You were absolutely right. It is not his job. His job is to cover the news, but I like what he said. He included in that statement. My job is to cover you, not to fawn over you or rip you. Just cover you. And that's a point every news person should take to heart. Just cover the news. It's not your job to talk about it. Fox News anchor Neil Cavuto on Thursday fired back at President Donald Trump over his persistent whining about Fox News of late, telling the president that he's not entitled to undivided loyalty from the network and should not expect to get a free pass. Nothing at the end of his Fox News broadcast on Thursday, or noting at the end of his Fox News broadcast on Thursday that Trump had complained earlier in the day to Fox and Friends host Brian Kilmeade that he was not happy with the conservative leading network. Cavuto said that he thinks it's weird that Trump complains about Fox because the channel gives him pretty fair coverage. But the president making clear to fact check him. That doesn't make sense. Is to be all but dead to him. Oh, I see. The president making clear to fact check him is to be all but dead to him and his legion of supporters who let me know in no uncertain terms I am either with him totally or I am a never Trump bully, the Fox host stated. There are no grays, no middle grounds. You're either all in or you're just out. Loyal on everything or not to be trusted on anything, pointing out that the president was recently urged his supporters to stop watching Fox News because the network is no longer working for him. Cavuto declared that his job is not to appease the president, and then they repeat that line. You know what? Kudos to Neil Cavuto. Just report the facts. And if it's not always going to be in the president's favor, and it shouldn't be. I think all the news people at Fox News should absolutely take heed to that line. Don't fawn, don't rip, just report. Okay. Now the opinion people, I don't really care. They can be supportive or be unsupportive, and I'm talking to every network as much as they want. But unfortunately, so many of the news people and the people who are supposed to be neutral, like CNN pretends that they're the neutral network. They spend all their time. Ripping, and even the news shows rip. Think about Brian Stelter and his show. His show is supposed to be about how the news, everyone else in the news does their job. It's not their. If your show is about how news works, should you constantly spend your time ripping or fawning? Okay, because that's what they do. They spend their whole time ripping on Trump or anyone who supports Donald Trump. No, the one thing I did like, the guy who used to do that show, and I can't think of what's his name was. The guy who used to do that show, really, it was a good show because he talked about how different news outlets covered news, and kept it very neutral. Brian Stelter spends his time ripping. And that's the difference. If your show is called Reliable Sources because you're talking about how news works, talk about how news works. Don't talk about we don't need your opinions. Talk about how other people form their opinions or whatever. Anyway. All right. That's why Neil Cavuto's trending. All right. Mary Shelley's trending. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. It's the birthday of Mary Shelley, the spiritual mother of all of us who toil in the fields of horror. Great, just a classic writer. Okay, so Mary Shelley, that's why she's trending. Dark Crystal, first reactions are coming in for the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. It's like a sci-fi movie, or what is that? Oh, from the makers of Labyrinth. Okay, you know what? Labyrinth's one of those movies that many people know about, and I actually liked that show, even though it had some weird, Muppetron, Muppet style, whatever, animatronic beings. That's the one with David Bowie, right? I think that one it is. Anyway, so it's a Jim Henson flick. So on Netflix, Dark Crystal will be. It's a show. It's a series. Okay, well, Dark Crystal's coming back. The new Dark Crystal's prequel is now streaming. Vig Sig Scream. So it's based loosely on Labyrinth. It's from the makers of Labyrinth. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up now. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Madeleine Westerhout. She's the one who leaked information from the Trump White House. It says she resigned, probably resigned with a little push. We already talked about Funimation. Is that something to have to do with Dark Crystal also? Even if you don't give a fuck about anime, send out at least one tweet with Funimation in it. Want to see this shit hit #1 trending. Okay. Oh, yeah. This is... It's some guy at Funimation got caught up in Me Too shit. Anything else in here that I want to talk about? There is not. Flashback Friday and Feel Good Friday. Let's just do one flashback from Flashback Friday before we go as a fun little thing to do. So on this day in 1993, Billy Joel appeared as the first ever musical guest on The Late Show with David Letterman. Wow. That's a fun Flashback Friday tidbit of history. So there you go. All right, folks, I got to call it a day because, this is when I leave usually. Hey, I hope you all enjoyed it today. I know a lot of you were lurking out there. I'm glad you were here. And thanks for coming every day. I'm going to enjoy my weekend. It's late. Even though it's Labor Day weekend, I will still be here on Monday because I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT. For those people in other parts of the world who want to know when we're on. And thank you so much for being here. Before you go, if you haven't already done so, if you're new to the show or just haven't been around much and haven't subscribed to the channel, right down there, subscribe, hit the share button if you're watching this on a replay, or even if you're not, share the stream out, and also hit the like button before you go. And finally, we do donations and super chats through the Streamlabs link down below. I didn't do my usual commercial today, so I forgot to say it. But if you're ever on the show and you want to do super chats, I don't have that YouTube little $ thing there. But if you want to do super chats, again, Streamlabs links are down below. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all coming in and popping in and seeing what we do here. And if you like it, tell somebody. Thank you so much again. My name is Dawg Knight. And I'm out of here. Have a great weekend. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and I want to thank you for joining me today on the Dawg Knight channel. Before you go, if you like what you saw and you're not already subscribed, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 2 p.m. GMT. A special thanks to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through our Streamlabs link in the description below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.